Breaking news on the broadcast. Now, after Prime Minister's interaction with secretaries to government, CNN News 18 has also managed to access a copy of that letter. And here's what that letter states. Ministries to identify imported products that can be manufactured in India and handhold domestic industries to make them locally. The government will also be promoting an ecosystem for homegrown social media, also digital infrastructure. In fact, we might want to turn our viewers' attention to the latest tweet by the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, where he'd spoken about how he's shifting his email to a homegrown, in fact, platform. So that is the first step in that direction, and one of the highest officers is doing that. Make in India. Youth will be trained and skilled for it. This is another thing that's coming out of the missive. The Prime Minister, in fact, wants a nationwide campaign to improve citizens' civic behavior and sense of ownership over public spaces and assets. Very important development that we are learning of as the Prime Minister has interacted with the secretaries to the government, and all of this has been underlined in that interaction. My colleague Aman Sharma with all of those details. Aman.
Well, yes, Griha, this is an exclusive letter that we are bringing to our viewers, written by the Cabinet Secretary to all the secretaries on October 9th. This was after a marathon meeting that the Prime Minister chaired with the top bureaucracy on October 6th. And this particular letter, which we have access and have a copy of, has 28 action points emerging from that meeting. The top action point, which I'll read out from the letter, is that the big direction is to promote Atmanirbhar and Swadeshi, as the Prime Minister has been saying. The direction is that all ministries and departments need to interact with domestic manufacturers to identify projects that can be manufactured domestically, reduce imports from other countries. That is the direction from the Prime Minister. All these domestic industries should be handheld by the ministries and departments to ensure facilitate efficient manufacturing of such identified products in India. This is a big direction and goes into a large way into the direction the Prime Minister has also been making in his speeches, that we need to reduce outer dependence. We need to use and produce products which are made in India. The number two big direction I'm seeing in this letter is the Prime Minister has also asked for, directed that ministries and departments, basically indigenous development of ecosystem of public, social, public digital and social media platforms. So social media platforms of Indian origin should be built up. They should be supported by the government. We are seeing a start already with Amit Shah and other ministers adopting an indigenous platform, which has come up in the last few months. He has said that, the Prime Minister has said, youth must be nurtured, trained and skilled for developing our own social media platforms and digital infrastructure domestically. Also, another interesting point, the Prime Minister has been stressing a lot in the past that there needs to be a campaign for improving civic sense and behavior of citizens. We have the infrastructure, but simply the civic sense of maintaining that infrastructure is missing. The Prime Minister has repeatedly said in this particular letter, the Cabinet Secretary is reiterating again the Prime Minister's direction that we need to launch a national campaign to instill in people a sense of ownership over public assets, transport, infrastructure and public spaces, to bring about a sea change in the way civic sense of our people is when it comes to public infrastructure. All this has been directed by the Prime Minister. We could see action beginning on this front very soon now, because the Cabinet Secretary has written to all the secretaries on October 9th.
Also, Aman, the Swadeshi push, I was just referring to that earlier tweet by the Union Home Minister of shifting to Zoho. That is the one step in that very direction coming in from the highest officers of the country. And this letter, this missive also reiterates one of that aspects too.
Well, absolutely, Griha. Zoho leading ministers like Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav have shifted to Zoho, and that is what, they have been tweeting it out also, that we need our own digital email platform as well. Why depend just on Google and other ones? This letter has very clearly directed that a major direction by the Prime Minister is that the ecosystem for indigenous development of public, digital as well as social media platforms should be promoted. Ministries and departments should encourage these social media platforms which are coming up domestically. Also, that the youth should be nurtured, trained and skilled for developing, the social media platforms as well as digital infrastructure domestically. So that's a major step, that not only in the digital sphere should we have indigenous development of our, youth building these platforms for India, but also we should identify what all big items are we importing from abroad? Can we identify factories and units in India which can manufacture the same items? And can we handhold these domestic factories to reduce our imports and increase our Atmanirbharta and Swadeshi? All ministries being directed to identify such products. This could be happening on mission mode now in the next few months. Maybe a big change will come if we see in the next few months, Griha, after this Prime Minister missive to all the secretaries in the government.
Right, Aman, thank you so much for all of that information. Aman Sharma there with that exclusive information.